let's talk watches. I know a lot of you see some of the watches that I wear on this channel. You ask me about my Panerais, my Omegas, Rolexes, and stuff like that. But I've got a watch on my wrist I've been wearing off and on for the past few months, which is a great daily wear watch, but it also has an ode to photography in a very unique way. This is from Nodus. It's called the Obscura II. Now, this is what I would call a working prototype. I got this before the watch was officially launched, but they said the fit, finish, the movement, everything is exactly what people will be getting. It's just was one of those watches that they were showcasing at events, and that's where I picked this up. Was at a D-Lugs event here in Singapore earlier this year. I noticed was one of the micro brands that they were being showcased there. So this has been on my wrist quite a bit. You've seen it in a number of videos here on this channel. And I liked it because it's a great daily wear watch, but it feels very good on the wrist. The build quality, the fit and finish is way above the $650 price point that this watch is. There's also a black DLC version, which is $725. I would probably opt for that, but at the time that I picked this one up, the DLC wasn't available. But I would say that watch looks beautiful in black. It's very stealthy, very sporty, with a blue strap to it. Mwah, chef's kiss. So this is version 2. Now, the version 1 had the Beers and Cameras logo on the dial. There was only 100 of those watches made. They didn't do much publicity on it, to be fair to them. But those in the know. I believe they were some of the fans of Beers and Cameras, community meetups picked those watches up, and they're really great watches. But Nodus and Juan Martinez decided to improve on that watch, but still maintain the same aesthetics overall with some slight tweaks to make it even better. I believe the bracelet's newer, the clasp on this is newer, fumé dial with the grain on it's a little bit different than the original. So this looks a little bit more premium than the original, but still maintains what makes this watch so special, and that is that Sunny 16 exposure gauge on the bezel, which from what I understand is patented by Juan Martinez and Beers and Cameras for this watch. It works relatively well, especially if you love film photography and you want something to help you out in the field. If you don't have a light meter on your camera and you don't want to use your smartphone, this might be a great option for you as well to look at. But I have to say, it's done very, very well. And by the way, the bezel on this is brass. This is 316L stainless steel on the body and on the bracelet, but the bezel is a little bit over an overhang on brass, so it does patina over time. I haven't had this patina yet on me, but from what I understand, it will give you the sort of that kind of that black paint camera vibe where with brass over time, you will get that if you keep, continue to use this over and over again, but it's really well coated and it looks very premium on the wrist. The crown on this is also black as well, and it's got the Nodus logo and a dark gold sort of matte finish on that. Overall, this watch is very easy to read. It's very legible. And the one thing you're going to notice right off the bat is that the sapphire crystal glass has got this kind of this blue coating to it. And it's really cool. It kind of reminds you of looking at the front of a lens. So as you move it around on your wrist, you're going to see that blue sort of hue come into play. It's a nice little play with light, but it just adds a little bit of something to the watch that makes it fun to always kind of look at, because it'll hit big time depending on the light source that you're at. Like if I'm looking like this, I can see it. And then if you just look straight on, you don't see it that much, or just a little bit of blue around the edge. Very, very nice. The dial has this kind of dark fumé dial, the grain on the dial, which kind of simulates that black and white photography, that grain that you get out of it. The seconds hand has this kind of blue and white sort of candy cane look. From what I understand, that is to emulate the sprocket holes that you get out of film. They have put that down on the seconds hand. So it's kind of these small little touches to the watch that are very photographer based, but at the same time, if you're not into photography, you just like the looks of this watch, it's also really cool. And it stands on its own in a very unique way without screaming photographer's watch, because sometimes those things can get a little bit gimmicky, but I think what Nodus and Juan have done has made this enough that if you know, but if you don't know, you'll enjoy wearing this. And it looks like a great sports watch that you could just wear daily and you'll absolutely love it. Let's talk about the size and dimensions on this. This is a 38 millimeter watch. Now I have a 7-inch wrist. 38 is usually on the smaller size for me, but the bezel overhangs a bit, so that's gonna equal about a 40 millimeter. So when you wear it, it looks more 40 to 41 than it does 38. But if you have a smaller wrist, you're gonna be fine with this overall. I think it fits really well on my 7-inch wrist. I usually wear larger watches, 44, 42, even 47 millimeter, but I would say this is a very nice daily watch. The thickness of the watch is 11.7 millimeters. The lug to lug is 47 millimeters, and the width of the bracelet or strap will be 20 millimeters, and it tapers down. The clasp on this is the new Nodus clasp, and this clasp is absolutely fantastic with micro adjustments inside of it as well. They have done a tremendous job. And I will say again, for the price point, this bracelet It feels really good. It's not hollow. It doesn't feel cheap or flex. It is really solid. You could easily charge more than $650 and you wouldn't feel like you got cheated. Let's just say that. I do want to highlight a feature on this bezel, which I think is worth noting. Now, with some of these bezels, it might be a smooth action where there's no clicks to it. It's very easy to knock, let's say your settings out of place, especially if you're using this as an exposure gauge for your film photography. But there are clicks here and it's not easy to get them out of the position. You have to use force. So I'm using it with two hands, as you can see right here, which is good. I've tried other watches in the past where it's very smooth. You can just knock it out very easily. Whereas this, it feels more intentional. And I like these small details that they put to this. It's got a nice click. It feels very responsive. It is a bi-directional bezel, but it does stop at the 12 o'clock mark. So if you want to go beyond that, you can't. So it's still like a semi-bi-directional bezel, but I do like the fact that there are clicks there. Overall power reserve on this is 41 hours. It's got a Seiko movement inside of it. It's a trusted movement. These are durable, everyday movements. Power reserve for the price you're paying, 41 hours, not a big deal. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. Very easy to wind up and you're good to go. There's no power reserve marker on it to let you know. Just, wind it for about a minute and you'll be good for probably a good day or two. No issues at all with that. The back of it is not an open back watch. It is a closed back watch on this one. Again, this is a prototype, so it's gonna have a number on this one. I believe they had a series of prototypes out there, but it's well finished, no issues at all with that. And yeah, that's kind of the watch I have to say overall. I would say this, the legibility was one thing I really enjoy. The lume on this is fantastic. There's no issues at all in lower light situations. The bezel on it doesn't lume, so it's just gonna be the hour markers and the seconds hand and all that stuff, but it looks the business. And I've had some nice compliments on this watch that I've worn it. They've said, hey, what watch is that? Well, that's interesting. What is this? And I explain, oh, this is a bezel that you can measure. Let's say if you have a camera without a light meter, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, wow, this is really nice. All right, so to wrap this up, I've really enjoyed wearing this watch over the past number of months. It's been a great daily watch for me, and I've taken it with me on trips, especially in countries or cities where I know it's not a great place to bring, let's say, a luxury watch. This has been a nice alternative, and it looks really good, and you can dress this up, you can dress it down. Probably my personal preferences I mentioned before is I probably would go for the black DLC. I just think it looks really awesome, and the dial just comes alive with that. But the stainless steel is also a really nice option too as well, and it's, again, for what you're getting, for what you're spending on a watch, you're getting a lot of watch in terms of fit, finish, the movement solid. It just feels really good on the wrist. And so I got to hand it to Nodus and Juan Martinez of Beers and Cameras. You guys have created something very cool. And from what I understand, they're looking to expand on the Obscura line even more so. I'm hearing maybe some other complications coming in the future. I don't know. I'm just what I'm hearing rumors out there. So that would be very awesome to see. But I think for those who are fans of photography, fans of Nodus, fans of Beers and Camera, and just want a really cool watch that's different, you're gonna like what this has to offer. So guys, if you wanna see more watch content on this channel, let me know as well, because I love watches. I love talking about watches. And I think it's fun just to kind of talk about different pieces out there in the market. Obviously there's the Rolexes and the Omegas and all the other great watches out there, but some of these smaller micro brands are really fun to explore. That, like, subscribe, thank you once again, and I'll chat to you all very, very soon.